5. The lines are locked. 4. Match day is near. 3. The plates are clear. 2. The picks are in. 1. Let the show begin. Game on. It's that time again. Game on. Kicks and picks is back again. Game on. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Game on. The guys are here and ready to go. Game on. Game on. Game on. Game on. The guys are here and ready to go.
We are live.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Kicks and Picks podcast. We are doing a special show today, Coffee and Champions League. We are kicking off the knockout phase of the Champions League. Scotty, happy to be here with you today. Shout out anybody that's here with us, whether you're working or not working. We appreciate you just the same. Man, always exciting this time of year. This is when we do our best work. We are on a run of 3 straight Champions Leagues, giving out the winner. So hope to continue that. And, you know, we talk about it pretty much every show. I'm tired of hearing myself say it, but really love this new format. I think it certainly worked out for the Premier League in the group phase, in the group, not group phase. What are we calling it? Phase 1?
League. It's like the league
phase,
stage.
I
Yeah.
don't call it anymore. But it's made for some pretty good matchups here, even in this playoffs. And obviously it'll be good for the table beyond that for the top 8 that already qualified. So excited to be here. Think we're gonna run through a couple of just quick takeaways we have, get everybody up to speed on where the teams are and who's doing what. And we'll run through every game and give out some of our plays.
Yeah. I mean, I think, coach is not here, but you and I, we do this every season. And I think we not only do we do really well, but I think it's probably some of the more enjoyable picks that we like to do. It's obviously the best teams in Europe, but there's always so many different storylines. And weirdly enough, and it's happening a lot this season too, you can't really take how these teams are doing in their league, their domestic leagues, and kind of carry that over to Champions League. Like you would think that translates because teams playing at the top usually play better, but you're looking at Spurs and Newcastle kind of towards the bottom half of the table in their league, sitting, doing pretty well in Champions League. You got Villarreal, who's doing really well, and their domestic that's doing terrible, like the inverse. I don't know. It's always just this little, midweek mound of chaos that kind of sits in our calendars, and trying to like pull back, the different layers and figuring out what's going on is a really enjoyable part of our season, I think.
No question. And betting it is challenging, but like challenging in a good way, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like we did really well, like match days, like 1 through 6, and then the wheels kind of fell off towards the end there, but you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I'm going to jump ahead. A huge takeaway. You're talking about teams like Marseille. You're talking about teams like PSV, Napoli, Eintracht, Villarreal. Like these are teams that are in the top 3, top 4 of their respective leagues that all did not even make the knockouts, that have been eliminated from the Champions League. That's pretty insane. And we talked about, I mean, they're mainstays, I guess, in European competition, but you're talking about an Olympiacos, a Club Brugge, Karabag, I think is the big upset or the big surprise to people who maybe weren't too familiar with them. We talk about them a lot on the show, so we got that one right. Bodo, it's not who you would have expected if you had to draw this table from scratch from the start of the year, right? And another huge shout to Paphos, right?
I was just gonna say Paphos didn't make it through
last place. They were a goal or 2 away from making it to the knockouts.
Yeah. And so it's to your point, like this new iteration of Champions League, new format, certainly doing well and kind of creating the drama throughout and making it maybe a little bit more of a level playing field. I think there's still some complaints about it, but nothing in life is perfect, and this is what we got. So focus on the parts that you do enjoy.
No, so
Um,
I mean, let's talk about the big thing here, man. The Premier League came. They came to play. They came to show up. Five teams automatically, or excuse me, all six teams are in. Five of them directly qualifying in that top eight.
yeah,
Arsenal finishing top of the table. They didn't lose a single match. Liverpool third, Tottenham fourth, Chelsea sixth, City squeaking in eighth, and Newcastle probably just a result away down there in 12th. So have to give them props. I think the Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea portion of that is probably the most surprising, just given the fact that those teams have all, I don't know, been mediocre or, mediocre maybe by their standards. But no, Tottenham and Chelsea, we were talking about firing managers, right? Newcastle, horrendous form in the league.
yep.
So shout out to the Premier League. I mean, I think and I don't know. I can't even say that they've prioritized the Champions League over the league because I don't think City and
Eh,
Liverpool necessarily have. But what do you attribute it to?
well, before I think we almost skipped over a part. If I told you 2 months ago that Igor Tudor was going to be managing a team that has a bye in the Champions League, like,
Never.
where would you have gone with that? I don't think you would have guessed Spurs in a million years, right? Like, that's probably team number 50 on your list. That's just a
Yeah.
crazy. Imagine being Thomas Frank, where you are, coaching your team to the top four in Champions League, and you're still getting fired. That's crazy.
Yeah. And
That's
they have the joint second best defense in the Champions League.
yeah, it's unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, sorry that like you said that, and I if figured in our chat
Wild hire. I
when
mean,
Tudor
just
got
what is
hired.
it? Money and availability and
Yeah,
see out the season before we start this entire cycle again. I don't know. Never know
yeah,
what to make of Tottenham, but credit to them. Fourth place.
fourth place. Yeah, I mean, like, look, we kind of talked a little bit about the success of the English teams already, so I won't go too deep into it. I know I kind of probably burn out my welcome sometimes with that, but there's a lot of money in the English Premier League right now. I don't necessarily that means you're going to have the best team. We've seen Liverpool splash out a ton of money and they're fighting for their lives to get qualified for next year. But I think what that does do is it gives you typically better depth, which is what you need when you're playing, game on the weekend and then European competition midweek. You need that depth to rotate. You need to be able to handle injuries. And when you're looking at the teams that are in the top eight right now, everybody outside of Sporting is going to have great depth. I think Sporting is probably the one underdog sneaking in there ahead of the likes of a PSG or a Real. But otherwise, if you don't have that, first 11 quality player to bring off the bench to kind of spark something or to rotate in when your midfielder needs a little bit of a rest because he's been playing 90 minutes for the last 3 weeks, 5 times a week or 5 times, it's just going to wear you down. So I think that's like the main thing. The other thing that I like and I think would like to bring up is, we're talking about these teams and how they're doing for their, collective fans. The leagues themselves also have something, to gain here when we're talking coefficients and getting the extra spot. The top two leagues with teams that perform well in the European competition get that fifth or that extra spot. So sometimes it's a fifth. If it's somebody like the Dutch league, maybe it's a fourth spot. But England is pretty much locked up there. As we just talked about it, 9 out of 9 teams across all competitions already through. 5 out of the 6 are in the top 8. So that's locked, signed, sealed, delivered. The other spot that gets an extra Champions League qualification is going to go to either Italy, Spain, maybe Germany. I think Germany has a little bit more of an uphill battle to climb. Italy's
Bayern
in the
would
lead.
probably need to win the Champions League.
Yeah, Bayern would have to win. You probably have to get a good show out of Dortmund here because Dortmund does have a winnable game against a team from Italy. So that's something that they could change their fortunes with. But Italy in the lead right now. All 3 of those leagues have 6 teams remaining across all competitions. So something to keep an eye on. Right now, if you're looking at who's kind of would benefit from that spot in Spain and in Italy, you're looking at either Juve or Roma kind of battling out for top 4. The loser of that match would love, or that battle would love that extra spot because then they're through no matter what. In Spain, Betis, who I feel like is kind of a unsung hero sometimes in La Liga. Obviously there's the giants of La Liga, but Betis has been consistently decent for the last few years and has, like you said, has an outside chance of maybe winning their European competition. They would love to get into the Champions League because that's going to do a lot for their brand. That's going to do a lot for them financially. Spain, if they can kind of pull it together, if Barca and Real can kind of, circle the wagons, maybe not their best showing so far in the Champions League compared to what they're maybe used to in their typical success. If they can figure it out like Real typically does, Betis could be a big beneficiary of that. So that's another storyline just to keep your eye on.
Yeah, no, completely agree. I think they've been a stalwart in that Conference League, Europa League kind of level for the past couple of years. Isco back there, my guy, love him. Anthony crushing since he moved from Manchester, since he was exiled from Manchester United. And then the forward they got's really good too. I forgot the Georgian dude or whatever he is. So yeah, solid. No, I think that pretty much covers it. Like we were saying, listen, big shout out to like those 18 to 24 teams. There's just a group of them, right? Olympiacos, solid team, but certainly maybe not favored to make it out considering some of the teams that didn't. Club Bruges, who've been awesome in the Champions League, I think knockout round, 2 years straight. So good for them. Karabag, Bodo have to be the two that like were the huge upsets. Karabag for sure. This is a team from Azerbaijan, right? Like, if you follow the Champions League, you know who they are. We've talked about them because for the past 2 years, they're like impossible to play against at home, right? They have a massive, massive, massive home field advantage. Difficult to travel there. Teams don't particularly do well, and they've turned that into a couple wins and 22nd place. So we'll cover that game coming up. But one of my favorite plays of the weekend. So books have caught on, but there's still value to be found. But we had a good run riding Karabag for the past 2 years on the spread.
Facts.
All right, cool. Right. You want to hop into these games?
I think it's time. I think we got to dive in. So we have 8 matches this week. I think 4 Tuesday, 4 Wednesday. Is that an even split? Yeah. So let's just start with Tuesday. I think that's where it makes the most sense, and we'll go through.
Awesome. All right, I'm just gonna go in the order that they're listed here on all the apps here. But Juve is traveling to Turkey, taking on Galatasaray. First game up, 12:45 tomorrow. And I don't know why my odds just closed on me, so give me 1 second to read them off.
Well, as you do that, I'll kind of touched on it. A lot of home underdogs this week, right? So I think that's going to be kind of a theme that we have to kind of pick our way through. Obviously, there's not just going to be 7 road wins. I don't see that happening in this Champions League. So you got to pick your spots. I also think that means goals might trend downward a little bit. Okay. Teams that are at home maybe don't want to lose it in the first leg. They want to just try to get a simple result. And teams that are the favorites that are on the road know that, hey, if we can keep it close and get home, we'll be a heavy home favorite and we can advance. So I feel like this is going to be, this is my guess, maybe a little bit more conservative opening round that you'll see in the knockouts.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly 100% spot on. That's something to shout out here. This is a playoff. It's home and away. You can't win in the first round, in the first leg, right? I mean, you could certainly lose in the first leg, but I don't know that you could steal your spot just as yet. And we talked about the league phase being awesome because it was so open and there's a ton of goals. You might see some more conservative results in this one. And I think the lines are priced accordingly. I'm still a sucker for an over. There's still some games that I like, but I think proceed with caution is solid betting advice here. So lines for this one: Galatasaray plus 240 on the money line. Juve is plus 110. The draw is plus 250. Never saw a Juve draw over 250 that I didn't like. Yeah. And this is one where I think you're spot on with what you were kind of saying. Be cautious in this game. Galatasaray are a really, really tough home team. Tough place to travel. They have some quality. Granted, a lot of it is former players from EPL and Serie A, but it's guys who make money, have a good quality of life, still know how to play. And here they are in the playoff of the Champions League. So what I was looking at here, Scotty, and might go against wisdom, but it's minus 140, both teams to score. A little chalky, but if you think Juve are a favorite and priced accordingly, I think Galatasaray get a goal at home. So I'm willing to lay a little bit of juice at minus 140 on this one.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I mean, I'm also looking at a line that's minus 140. I thought you were going to be in the same space as me. Galatasaray plus half a goal is minus 140 at home. We always talk about Turkey, one of the hardest places to travel in Champions League. They've gotten, their share of scalps already this season at home. I think my gut tells me that number is probably going to get better as the week goes on. I think a lot of people are going to want to hop on the Juve, favorite bandwagon at a
Yep.
pretty playable price. So I would almost wait. I can't guarantee it, but I would guess that this is going to be like a playable minus 130 by the time we get to game time. So I keep an eye on this game, on this one. I don't think this is going to get any worse. I don't imagine a ton of money coming in on Galatasaray throughout the week, but I really like double chance here because of like what we just said. If Galatasaray can get a goal, Juve is going to have to get multiple in that kind of atmosphere with the kind of setup that Juve has. They don't need to come out and carry a 2-3 goal lead back home. They'd be happy with a draw. So I kind of like that line on this one. If you like goals, I think that kind of works in the favor because Galatasaray is going to have to be scoring if they want to stay in the two-legged match.
Yeah, definitely. I think you have to back them to get on the score sheet at home. If they don't, they're in real trouble. Even though Juve's form has been uneasy, they've been pretty decent scoring goals in the Champions League. All right, the next 3 games are all tomorrow at 3:00. So going to go in the order of the sports book here. Monaco taking on PSG. Monaco are at home in this one, plus 450, big underdog on the money line. PSG minus 180. The draw is plus 350. Man, I think we suck with Monaco games, right? If I'm not mistaken, we don't have a great record.
We haven't caught the right side of them. Yeah, they're going back and forth.
PSG has kind of been uneven as well, right? Big loss this past weekend. I mean, I don't think they're in danger of losing this two-leg affair. I don't think they're in danger really in the league, but this hasn't been the same PSG. They're kind of banged up. So
no, and they kind of stumbled their way, in through the end of this Champions League stage, right? Like I don't think they have one win in their last 5 Champions League matches. So not in great form in Europe. Obviously they were the not heavy favorites, but they were after they played Liverpool in the knockout rounds. I called them the heavy favorites.
Yep.
Is this where they kind of turn up a gear, right? Like last year they barely qualified, get Liverpool, after their Liverpool qualified first and then just kind of took off from there. Do they have that next gear? I think there's a lot of conversations going around whether Luis Enrique's future is going to be at PSG and trying to get him nailed down. So there's a lot of different things that are kind of muddying the waters here. With that said, I know PSG played like absolute dog doo-doo against Rennes this weekend.
Sure did.
Do I see them fumbling 2 games in a row? Even on the road, I think that's a tall ask. So
and it's on the road in their same country. Like this is not any different than a regular weekend matchup. Yeah.
And so I know I said that my gut sense is that across the board, the theme is going to be fewer goals, less chances taken. I think this is might be one that doesn't fit that trend. I like both teams to score over 2.5 here. Yeah. I think Monaco is going to get a goal at home.
Me too.
If you get shut out at home, you have no chance at advancing. So they're gonna have to try to play forward. PSG's defense has been okay. Like I said, they've been leaking goals for the last 5 matches in Europe. So I kind of I'm okay with the both teams to score angle here, getting the over 2.5 just to make it playable at minus 115. I think
I like it. No, I like it. And I think that's going to be a theme, at least for me, probably for both of us. The way that we approach these is, home underdogs, they have to get a goal. They have to, right? Yeah. So I'm with you there. I circled PSG to score in the first half at minus 125. So that I think that fits the narrative of what you're saying here. Not too much else for me in this game. I mean, seeing PSG, I would almost expect them to be like a minus 250. So minus 180, if you want to use them as a parlay piece, if you're a believer, that's fine too, but not too much else in this game. I'm kind of with you there. PSG get goals. I think Monaco get one as well.
Yeah, and some of the goal score props, they're not terribly great. Priced, but they're if you can find one guy that you really believe in across PSG's forward attack, then I think you go heavy on them and pray. But otherwise, that's all I got.
All right, next up, we have Dortmund hosting Atalanta. Dortmund, big favorite here, plus 110 on the money line. Atalanta plus 240. That draw is plus 260. Dortmund, this is when they come to play as well, right? And they very rarely balance a good domestic season with a good Champions League season. It's one or the other. They're doing well in both, right? They've obviously qualified here. I think they're still in second place in the Bundesliga. And they're tough at home. So I agree with the pricing in this one. I think Atalanta has been uneven. Obviously, they appointed a new manager about a month and a half ago, but they've been very, very uneven throughout this campaign in Europe. I think they have different lineups just about every game. They got rid of Lookman. So goals are a lot harder to come by.
Yep.
That being said, if I'm going to pick a game, just a straight game to take an over with, I would have expected this game to be a 3.5, and the 2.5 is actually playable at -135. I think this is almost one of my favorite spots of the weekend. I think, or of the week, excuse me. I think a Dortmund team total at -120 is also in play. Scoring 2 at home seems like routine work for Dortmund. And as we said, Atalanta really just haven't been that good. So talk me out of an over in this one.
I can't. Dortmund has the worst defense of the teams. Second worst defense of the teams that have advanced.
I believe they gave up 4 to Juve, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 17 goals in their first 8 matches. Still qualified with their 19 goals scored. The only team that had a worse defensive record was Karabakh, allowing 21. So yeah, I think goals is probably the play here. Now look at this. I said the theme was conservative play. Got to talk myself into 2 overs in the first 3 matches. That's a little bit of a concern. But the logic is there, right? This is not going to be a Dortmund team that's going to be, compact defensively. They're not going to be able to, win a game 1-0. That's not really their forte. So if they're going to be up and going forward at home, that's going to leave space for Atalanta to exploit. The question is, does Atalanta still have that quality to, take the chances when they arrive? So I do like the over 2.5, both teams to score. If you throw that in, makes it -105. Were you playing both, or were you just doing the over?
I was just looking at an over. I mean, I'll drink a little more juice in case there's a 3-0 result. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but either team getting a clean sheet? No, it seems a little far fetched. So -105 for that, I think is good, and that actually might be one of my plays for this week. One of my 3 plays.
Yeah, that's one I had started. So we'll come back to it. Last game up is Benfica at home to Real Madrid. And just as a reminder, Benfica was the last team to qualify there on goal differential of -2.
I don't know if you did a double take when you saw this, because let's not forget this was the same match as the last round of the league table, where Benfica beat Real Madrid 4-2 to qualify, with Jose Mourinho and his antics afterwards. I saw that and I was like, oh, this is a weird, is this like old lines? Nope, it's just a rematch. Going right into it. So a lot on the table. I think you and I need to do our viewers a service here and acknowledge that we are not good betting Portuguese teams. It has been our Achilles heel for 4+ years.
It's turning out that I'm equally as bad at La Liga, if I'm being completely honest. Just looking at the run of results the last month, we win every bet except for the Spanish league.
We're gonna have to build a wall between Spain and France so it doesn't spread into the rest of continental Europe.
Seriously.
So yeah, I think this one is going to be hard for us to nail down. The other thing I'm going to say before we can dive into it, I am livid that we cannot bet card props right now, because this game screams cards. With everything that's happened in the last match, with the fact that Real Madrid has the most cards of any team in the league table. They had 19 yellows, 3 reds, more than anybody else by a fair margin. This screams to me like a game that's going to be very feisty, very card friendly. So if you have a book that does do that, bet whatever over prop you can on cards, whether it's total cards, yellows, reds, wherever you want. I would not be surprised if there's a red in this one, especially if it's maybe on the Portuguese side, if things start to go a little awry. But yeah, I mean, when into the actual game and line itself, I mean, Nick, when do you and I ever take a look at Real Madrid and Champions League at basically even money and say, or better, and say no thanks? So
I said before we went live on the stream that I guaranteed Scott and I would be on at least 2 out of our 3 plays, being the same. Real Madrid money line at -110. I mean, throw out. Listen, you threw in some very good context. Again, theme of the show: proceed with caution. There are 2 legs. Real is away from home. Mourinho is back. All great things to point out. But if you're giving me Real Madrid at -110 in any capacity in the Champions League, based on their form and how much money they've won us in the past 3 years, I'm going to have to ride with them again in this one.
Yeah, it's, there's too much quality there. I think, Benfica had their moment. And again, similar to what we said with PSG, are they going to have 2 stinkers in a row? Are Real Madrid going to have 2 stinkers in Europe in a row? And I don't know that they've lost since that game. I think they've been undefeated in La Liga since that match. So on a little bit better of a run. Yeah, I think you got to take it here. Also, if you're looking for maybe a little juicier line, I'm looking at Mbappe, who is the current heavy favorite to win Golden Boot, to score and team to win. Oh, it's only plus 150. That's tough. I thought it was going to be a little bit better than that.
Yeah.
Worth
a shot.
It's worth a shot. I mean, listen,
Did
Mbappe's
Madrid win this game without Mbappe scoring, right?
No, I mean, I think his goal score line is like minus 140, which is the problem. So
disgusting.
Yeah, if you really want to make it a little juicier, it's not great, but it's better than taking something that's basically at even money.
No, I dig it. I'm with you there. All right, let's move on to Wednesday's games. The early one is in Azerbaijan, as we talked about earlier. Karabag getting to host a game here against Newcastle, plus 600 underdogs. Newcastle is minus 250. The draw is plus 375. We talked at length about both of these teams. Karabag, good on them. Newcastle, very, very uneven, but this could be a get right spot for them. I am taking another one of my very favorite bets this weekend. Both teams to score is minus 110. I think Karabag get a goal at home in this one. I wish the spread was there. For a plus 600 underdog, you could get plus 1.5. I really would need plus 2 in this one.
Really?
I just think, yeah,
really?
I think I would.
You need plus 2 for Newcastle on the road. I mean, Newcastle have been bad. We took Aston Villa as a play.
I'm rooting for Karabag. Let me put that out there. But I definitely think they get a goal at home, and I think it'd be really cool to see them continue this. At least make it interesting for the second leg. I don't want to see Newcastle come out a 3-0 victor in this game. I think that'd be really, really shitty. So both teams score minus 110. I just think that's an insane price for this game.
Yeah, my issue with Newcastle right now is I don't know who they're playing as forwards, right? They've been rotating that heavily through. Voltemata came in, was playing really well for the first, 2 months of the season.
Yeah. And
then it's disappeared. We talked about it last pod where I think he had like 3 goals in the last 17 matches. Just not a good output for number 9. And then you're rotating through Anthony Gordon and Anthony Alanga and Harvey Barnes, and Anthony Gordon sometimes playing through the center, sometimes playing through. Like it's just too hard for me to understand.
They're like turning him into Daniel Malin.
Yeah,
what he was doing for Villa,
and he's not. He's better off on the wing. He's better when there's more space, using his pace to kind of get behind wing backs and what have you. So that is where I struggle, because we talked about it with the Atalanta Dortmund game. Only team with a worse defense than Dortmund was Karabag. 21 goals allowed, and a goal differential of -8. Making it through is kind of crazy. So I would love to see Newcastle get a commanding win here, but it just feels like a +1 Karabag isn't a terrible bet, because I think it's going to be a
minus 130. I mean, you can get that half a goal.
You got +130. You got minus 130. I got minus 150. All right. If it's minus 130, you can play +1.5 too. Then that's fine. Yeah. But this is the game where our theme of, I think it's gonna be closer than what people realize. I think that's this game here. I think Newcastle is absolutely fine with a 1 goal, lead coming home against Karabag. If you have a 1 goal, advantage coming home in the second leg to Karabag, you're happy if you're Newcastle. Don't care what form you're in. That's like a good result. You can be pretty rest assured you're going to advance. So I do like the underdog at home here in some capacity. If you like the +1, go with the +1. If you want to go +1.5, maybe you're at the minus 130 like Nick, by all means.
Yeah, I dig it. Both teams to score. We're coming back to that one later because it's one of my favorite plays of the week. Yep. All right, next up, we got Olympiacos hosting Leverkusen. Olympiacos, good on them, man. Again, another team that's going to be pretty tough to play at home in Greece. +150, Leverkusen +180. That draw is +230. Leverkusen's another team that we've had a tough go with recently, or I guess they've had a tough go, giving us a tough go, right? But uneasy performances. Their defense has not been good at all. I kind of dig both teams to score in this one as well. It's really, really juicy. So it's not a lock by any means. It's my lean for the game. It's -140. But if you just believe that Leverkusen are going to figure their shit out, and get a result here, draw no bet is even money. I mean, I do think they are the better side, but I don't know that I could guarantee that they can go to Greece and get this win.
Yeah, this one again. I mean, I'm going to take my advice earlier. This one feels more like an under to me. Under 2.5 is minus
Ooh.
110.
Okay.
Greece is not it's not quite Turkey levels of difficulty or Serbia, but it's up there.
Germans are going to get to go there and have their first taste of good food like forever.
Yes.
All right.
And both teams are averaging just about a goal, slightly more than a goal per game. In a more conservative leg where Leverkusen is, like I said, happy to come back with maybe a even line or maybe even a 1-goal lead. I think this game goes under. I like the under 2.5 at minus 110. That's
okay.
In Greece, I certainly think that's more in play. Maybe when they have the return leg, it's going to be a little bit more open, especially if Olympiacos is coming from behind. They'll have to be open. Leverkusen should be able to exploit that.
Definitely.
But my guess is Olympiacos' game plan in this is like, hey, let's not lose this in the first leg. Let's keep things tight. We can definitely muck things up and make it really hard for Leverkusen to play through the final third. Give me the under 2.5.
No, that's fair enough. And listen, this is my least favorite of the 6 games we've covered so far. So throwing that out there, I don't have a strong play in this regardless. Killa, thank you so much, brother, for the support. Johnny, I saw you in the chat earlier. Thanks to everybody who listens. Please, hit that like and subscribe. Really helps us out a lot. Share it if you can. All right, 2 games to go. We got, let me go in the correct order. Google showing me something different. Nope. Club Brugge at home to Atletico Madrid. Bruges plus 275 money line. Atletico is minus 110. The draw is plus 275. Scotty, the question is, are we going to get burned by Atletico with a minus 110 again? Or have we smartened up? That's really what it comes down to.
Hindsight is 2020. I think we maybe missed out on a usual bit of advice we gave ourselves, which is games this weekend were maybe trap games as teams looked ahead to the Champions League. So now that we've gone through this, I'm starting to understand this weekend's results a little bit better. So shame on us for not doing that schedule.
And you hit the net. Like we talked about it in the middle of the show. We're like, be cautious. Champions League is next week. This is all going to happen. And then like the day of, we're like, oh shit. Like, oh, how are they still at this number? Completely forgetting.
Rayo was Rayo Vallecano?
Yeah. Rayo is in like fucking last or something. Yeah. So I was like, oh yeah, we forgot that they're playing in 3 days, traveling nonetheless. So yes.
Man. This is another proceed with caution. I don't love Atletico in this spot. Club Brugge, I think, has been a really hard place to play. Yes. I think I'm trying to look at what their record was. I think they had 1 loss in their home fixtures in the league stage. Yeah. So betting on them being Atletico to get a win here, I think that's a tough task. So the question is, can I pallet maybe a draw no bet Bruges or a double chance? Draw no bet's plus 180. I don't mind that. Double chance in this. Where's the spread? It's minus 120.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I really don't. It feels like a game that Atletico's going to struggle a little bit with. Maybe they rebound, but it's not going to be an easy match by any means. And I think a lot of people are overlooking Club Brugge, even though they should. Like we said, Club Brugge has been really difficult the last 2 years for anybody in Europe. I think you got to give them a little bit of credit for what they've done in that time.
Definitely. I don't think it's going to be an easy out, although we've underestimated Atletico in the past and they've run out to 4-0, 3-0, 2-0 victories. So tough game for me. I'm with you. I mean, are you going to take the far superior team at minus 110? Like, I will never fault anybody who goes and does that.
Yeah.
Is this a spot for it? I don't know.
I got the stats now because I knew they had just the 1 loss at home. I have the stats. In Champions League, 4 games at home. They've beat Monaco 4-1, drew Barcelona 3-3, lost to Arsenal 3-0, and then beat Marseille 3-0. So in the games they've won, they've scored goals.
Okay.
So I don't know that this is going to be a game that Atletico is going to be able to come in and, win 1-0, right? Yeah. Like that's where, when we talk about Atletico and their success in Champions League, it's usually where they're kind of come in, they play that anti-football, the Simeone way, and they kind of gut out these, 1-0 type games. And I think it's going to be hard. I think Bruges is going to play well at home. I think they're going to get a goal or two. So yeah, I'm talking myself into a Bruges plus half a goal here, minus 120.
Yeah. Hey, listen, minus both teams score over 2.5, minus 130 if you're so inclined. So I dig it, and I'm rooting for him again. Interesting to see what happens. And then the last game we have here is Bodo Glimt at home to Inter Milan, plus 350. Bodo minus 150 on Inter. The draw is plus 325. I think Inter was, I don't want to say the most disappointing, but didn't they start out 4-0 or 3-0 in the
Yeah, they
Champions
were
League?
hot.
Only to fall out of that top 8. Now, granted, those first couple of games they played nobodies, but they really faltered, losing 3 in a row. It kind of sealed their fate in this one. I think Inter unexpectedly are in first place in their domestic league, and that has probably taken precedent. Certainly no strangers to the Champions League. They've been in finals, 2 of the last 4 or something like that. So interesting to see how much they prioritize this, how much they rotate Bodo. I'm pretty sure the Norwegian league has started. So right there, they're kind of in form, but you want to talk about a difficult place to play. Ask any team that's gone there in the Champions League, Europa League, Conference League over the past couple of years. This is a team that's typically in first place in their league or close to it. A lot of goals. I looked at over 3.5 at plus 120 just because Inter are scoring a lot, and Bodo definitely seemed to score at home. But Johnny's bringing up a good point here. That the weather there is absolutely atrocious. So not sure what to make of this one, Scotty. I wish you could lead me in the right direction here.
Yeah, before I got the weather forecast from John, I'm gonna have to double check this. It felt like a game that Milan will come in, they'll get their goal or two, and then they'll sit back and be okay coming home with that lead. So I don't know that this is a game that I want to back Bodo. I don't want to disrespect them. They've done well against teams from Italy in the past. Shout out Roma. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they're undermatched for this game or they're overmatched for this game. But my gut tells me that Inter have enough quality across the midfield, across the attack to get the goals that they need, get a 1 or 2-0, and then they can sit back, and they actually can defend pretty well. They'll be able to kind of withstand whatever Bodo has. So my lean was initially towards a Milan win and over 1.5. That was minus 115. If it's a real snow globe, then I might have to pivot and do the under 3.5, at which point that's plus 140. Yeah. So I'll take a look at the weather a little closer to game time. If we've got 2 inches of snow on the pitch, then I'll probably take the under. If it is at least a green field, then I'll probably go with my over 1.5.
Yeah, I dig that as well. I think I think these Wednesday games are a lot trickier to handicap than the Tuesday games, but I kind of dig it. Let's wait to see lineups for sure. Let's wait to see what the weather looks like. Will there be an orange ball played in this game? Is the question I have.
Key.
Because we'll get you the stat. Inter's 17-0 with orange. No, I'm kidding. Man, any other thoughts on these week's games before we start to wrap here?
No, I think we came in with a general rule of thumb, and I think we've talked ourselves out of it in half the games, but we'll see how that goes. I mean, that means we're gonna be right one way or the other, right? Like either we said, hey, we nailed it to start the pod, and then we talked ourselves out of it just by our usual back and forth, or maybe we found some things that we didn't expect, and maybe picked our right spots. But I think there's tons to play. Like that's my main takeaway is regardless of who you're rooting for or what type of matches you're expecting, there are tons of playable lines either way. So yeah, pick your favorites. If you got gut feelings on any of these, go for it.
And as always, I mean, please, hit us with your bets. Let us know if you're riding with anything. Let us know if there's anything we missed. Love to know what everybody's on. Have a convo on it. Happy to answer any questions, give any thoughts. So appreciate that. The interaction there for sure. Like, subscribe, whatever you guys can do. Appreciate you rocking with us today. One thing I do want to say, tournament futures. I know you guys touched on it on the couple weeks ago, the show that I wasn't on. I do want to shout out, and I'm not taking credit for it. Guy that we follow, Mr. Footy Bets, who is like a fantastic handicapper, paid subscription if you guys are into something like that. He shouted out Atletico Madrid plus 4,000 as a winner of the Champions League. And I'm going to be honest. I don't hate it. I think over 2 legs, they're going to get past Club Brugge. So, you're already putting yourself into the next round. To level set, Arsenal's a plus 350 favorite. Bayern's plus 450. City is plus 700. Barca plus 700. PSG plus 800. Then you have the Liverpool, Madrid, Chelsea are in the plus 1,000 range. So if you're really looking to extract a 4-figure value out of anything, would you rather have Atletico or would you rather have Inter, Tottenham, Newcastle, Juve, Sporting? I think Atletico is a good pick for a long shot.
Mhm. Yeah, and when Coach and I were discussing it, like we're looking at lines, not necessarily for teams that we think are going to win it, but like teams that are going to, be good investments and you can cash out 2, maybe 3 rounds from now.
Yep.
And so yeah, like I think those are the angles, those larger numbers where maybe they're not going to, get all the way in and win it, but they can get a few favorable matchups, maybe upset somebody and get to the maybe semis or thereabouts, and you can cash out for a good value.
Yeah, and from that logic, I mean, take a look at any of the other English teams, right? Like Newcastle, you have a tie against Karabakh, right? You make it past that, you're in another round. Tottenham is plus 3,000. Chelsea is plus 2,000. Liverpool's plus 1,100. Liverpool and Chelsea are teams that already have, they already have a bye, right? So basically, you win 1 round instead of 2. When you would think to start cashing out, there's some money to be made. But I can tell you, certainly the next time we do this, Scotty and I will take a hard look. If you're looking at an Arsenal or Bayern, one of the big favorites, there's no reason to take them now. I think that's the sound advice. You would never take Arsenal plus 350. You can extract the plus 350 out of Arsenal in any single game that you want, right? But we'll certainly give you guys a favorite. We'll give you a couple long shots, but as of right now, I'm definitely tailing that Atletico Madrid at plus 4,000. I think they have a decent shot as anybody that's around them.
Yeah, I think that's fair. The other one too, depending if you like Juve to advance here, they're saying they're at plus 10,000.
Yeah.
And then I know the draw already happened. I was trying to figure out what full
path.
disclosure, the bracket thing is still like the most complex thing to me. So I think that's they play. I just had it open. Depending on who they play on the winner's end, it's win that match and you got to be at least plus 2,000 or better. So
Right.
That's a good option. If you think they can get past Galatasaray and maybe one more, you're probably going to get like a close to a 3 to somewhere between a 3 to 5x cash out.
Definitely. So we'll keep an eye on that. Again, thank everybody who hopped in with us. Coffee and Champions League. Hopefully,
Do you want to go through our top 3? I got my top 3 first before we head out.
Go.
We gotta get these clip tees. So listen, I'll give you some time to organize, but my top 3 picks that I've talked myself into during this pod. Number 1, Dortmund, Atalanta, both teams to score, and over 2.5 is minus 105. Dortmund, second worst defense in the league stage. We just need Atalanta to score here. I think Dortmund at home get 2. Should be a pretty easy bet, all things considered. Real Madrid money line, I'm stealing that. You can take that one too, Nick, if you love it. But I think 2 duds in a row is unlikely. Real Madrid's, their record in Champions League past 5-10 years speaks for itself. I think they get the result even on the road here. Should be a pretty easy win. If you want to throw in the Mbappe also to score, that makes it plus 150 by all means. And then my other one that's maybe a little bit more against the grain, Club Brugge plus half a goal against Atletico at home, minus 120. Club Brugge at home scores goals. They perform well. I think they have 3 losses there all season long, one of which is to Arsenal, which I don't fault them for. I think they can get a good result. And Atletico, frankly, would be happy with a draw going home. So I like that at plus half a goal at minus 120.
Yeah, listen, I said it before the stream. I said it on stream, and it's true right now. I said we would be on the same side of 2 out of our 3 best bets. That is a fact. Dortmund, Atalanta. I'll give out the safer option of over 2.5 at minus 135. Certainly, if that number improves, take it. If not, Scotty's bet is the way to go. Madrid money line at minus 110. Never going to see a Madrid money line in the Champions League that I don't like. And Karabakh, Newcastle, both teams to score at minus 110 is my third play. I really like that one. I think Karabakh get this goal at home.
Thanks.
So, again, thank you guys for rocking with us. We will look to do this again next week. We will have an MLS preview this week. MLS is coming back, so we have a special guest for that one.
7 p.m. Thursday.
7 p.m. Thursday, different time. We are accommodating our guest, but he is a huge name in the space. So excited to have him on, guys. But 45 minutes. Hopefully you got on your second cup of coffee for this one. But thank you guys. Good luck this week. Catch you later.